Hi, welcome to my psychology. Welcome to my introduction to psychology live stream. So, a brief introduction is in order. My name is Kelvin Brendan Humo, and as part of our assignment for this course, we are required to do a review on a movie or TV show and live stream it. So, without further ado, let us begin. Okay, so yes, so what I will be reviewing is a show, a kids show that once aired on Nickelodeon called Avatar: The Last Airbender. Nice. In brief, the story is set in a fantasy world that is comprised of four separate nations: the Water Tribe, Earth Kingdom, Fire Nation, and Air Nomads. And the people have the ability to bend the element of their respective nations. Only the Avatar, however, who is reincarnated after each passing, can bend all four elements. With that in mind, the story takes place during a time when the Fire Nation is on a mission to conquer the other nations, and the Avatar is nowhere to be found. One day, two Water Tribe siblings, Sokka and Katara, come across the Avatar, who turns out to be a 12-year-old boy named Aang. And the story follows the quest of Aang and his companions as they help him to master all four elements and stop the Fire Nation. So how does the show relate to psychology? Well, one of the first thing that I noticed and would like to point out is that the show seems to have a very Jungian undertone. For instance, when Aang goes into the avatar state, he is able to access all of the memories, wisdom, as well as combined powers of the past avatars, which to me sounds very similar to Carl Jung's conceptualization of the collective unconscious, which is the part of our psyche that we inherit and share in common with containing supposedly containing mankind's collective body of knowledge and stored with wisdom. With that said, the Jungian undertone is most clearly observed in Eng's quest as the Avatar to master all four elements. In Jungian psychology, also known as analytical psychology, the main goal of the individual is to achieve wholeness by integrating together all of the various conscious and unconscious aspects of one's personality in a cohesive whole through a process known as individuation. Um, it can also be said that the avatar itself, it symbolizes the archetype of the self, which is the which according to Jung is the complete integration of all of the unconscious aspects and conscious aspects of one's personality. It is also noteworthy that each of the elements is associated with certain traits. If we were to base off the traits according to the Big Five model of personality, water is associated with the traits of agreeableness and extraversion. Earth is associated with conscientiousness, fire with neuroticism, and air with openness to experience. Hence, the process of mastering the four elements can be said to be symbolic of the individual's quest in achieving a whole personality, which is a healthy balance of all of these traits. Um, to continue with this metaphor, in ACT, acceptance behavior therapy, it is widely recognized that psychological flexibility, which can be defined as the ability to open ourselves up to all kinds of thoughts and emotions and respond appropriately to the demands of present circumstances, as the primary staple of psychological well being. Moreover, Aang's quest to become a full fledged avatar can be likened to Abraham Maslow's idea of self actualization, in which the individual is able to bring forth and fulfill their full potential, which in Aang's case is his potential to master all four elements. Good question. Although Aang is the main protagonist of the show, my favorite character is Zuko, who is the banished prince of the Fire Nation, sentenced to capture the Avatar in order to restore his honor and be welcomed back as the rightful heir to the throne. He starts off as an antagonist, but goes on to have one of the best redemption arcs I have ever seen. Zuko is a very complex character who can be said to possess an insecure attachment issue stemming from his rough childhood, in which he was abandoned by his mother and forced to grow up under his narcissistic, tyrannical father, Fire Lord Ozai, who is the main antagonist of the show. As a result of this, Zuko did not have his safety and security needs, which are the second most essential needs in Maslow's hierarchy, appropriately met. Thus, he grows up into a resentful, cynical, and somewhat antisocial individual. In addition, he also has a younger sister, Izula, who is a natural prodigy and similarly exhibits typical traits of narcissism like their father, and as such is the favorite child of the Fire Lord. All of this leads Zuko to have what Alfred Adler would refer to as feelings of inferiority and a parallel intense striving for superiority, manifested in his desire, manifested in his hatred of the Avatar and his will to get stronger in order to surpass his sister and be accepted and respected by his father and the whole Fire Nation. In spite of that, Zuko knows deep down that what he and the Fire Nation are trying to accomplish is wrong, something that he grows more conscious of as he travels throughout the various lands in pursuit of the Avatar. This puts him in a state of great cognitive dissonance, and Zuko experiences what can only be appropriately termed as an identity crisis, a crisis which, according to Erickson's theory of development, is appropriate of adolescents his age, whose main conflict is the identity versus role confusion. But fortunately, there is one positive figure in Zuko's life, which is his uncle Iroh, who is like the archetypal wise old man, who treats Zuko with what the humanistic psychotherapist Carl Rogers calls unconditional positive regard. He guides Zuko into seeing that the world isn't mere black and white, which in psychology is recognized as a form of cognitive distortion known as black and white thinking or splitting. Instead, everything is interconnected and needs to be in tandem with each other. Iroh's approach to guiding Zuko is reminiscent of the humanistic approach, which views individuals as possessing a natural self-actualizing tendency, as well as the individual freedom to make their own conscious decisions. He shows Zuko that he is neither a slave to unconscious forces stemming from his traumatic past, as psychoanalysts would hold, nor a slave to his surrounding environment of dysfunctional family and misguided citizens. Instead, he is an individual capable of determining his own value and acting in the manner he believes to be the best. Yes, I agree. Zuko is a very tragic and interesting character. So looks like it's about to reach the 10 minutes mark, so I guess I will conclude my presentation here. Thank you for participating in this live stream and goodbye.